What's one thing that people don't know about you or wouldn't expect from you?
Like you're talking about,
Like when they see you, right?
yeah. You're talking about
They
just
would be like, I would have never have guessed. Or something that probably like, well, I was just about to answer one for you, but I think you just answer it.
yeah. So you're talking about people that I don't know. Like I mean, for the first time. That's what you're saying.
I think anybody, even your friends, there's something that like that wouldn't be obvious. So,
Well, I would say anime. I think that when you see me, a majority of people automatically think, "Oh, this dude's like," especially because of the tattoos. I be forgetting that I have tattoos sometimes. I don't remember that I have tattoos until I actually see myself in the mirror, and then I remember, "Oh shit, I got tattoos," but I be forgetting. So I would say the majority of people that look at me, they won't think like, "Oh, this dude watch anime." And it's not like I'm not just I wouldn't consider myself a casual anime nigga either.
oh, so you'd be like,
No,
oh.
I'm hardcore anime nigga. Hardcore.
So
if I would say the majority of animes that have come out, no, not the majority, because I would say I would say I'm not hardcore, because there's some hardcore people who are all about anime. They know when the seasons, they know what's up and coming. They look at they have a list of what they want to watch when it releases, like games. They're looking forward to releases. I don't know anything about that.
oh, like how we check up on games.
Yeah, how we check up on games.
So,
So there's
yeah.
people who do that, who will look and they'll say, "Oh, I can't wait for next year this new anime is dropping, or the fall, because they have seasons."
So what do you? So is it to the point where you prefer anime over a normal show?
Yeah,
So you,
I think that there's a lot of shows that are really good that I'm missing out on, but I feel like anime is just it's just too good. I'm more excited to watch an anime than I would be a TV show. But once you watch a TV show, I'm like, damn, this is good, and then I'll binge watch it.
do you think anime is slept on? Like, and is anime frowned upon from the outside? Like when somebody thinks of like you watch anime, like, cause some people would be like, that's just cartoons or that's kid stuff, or
Nerd.
do you think that's like almost like an embarrassing thing to admit to somebody?
I would think it shouldn't be. I think it shouldn't be, but I think people do. Like, because you can tell. I've asked people at work,
About anime?
"Hey, you watch anime?" And they be like, sometimes yeah, and then sometimes like, nah, right? But I'm like, is he saying no because he thinks I'm gonna judge him, or he actually don't fuck?
I
with
think
anime?
maybe just because I think when you say anime, I don't know what they think in their head. Maybe they have like a quick idea of maybe something they seen and it wasn't up to par, or just they just couldn't imagine themselves watching that, especially because how people view them if they were to catch them watching that.
I don't know, but I just me, if I, just my experiences, I feel like maybe like 4 years ago, I would probably still say anime. Like, they told me I watch anime, I said, yeah, well, I watch it, but it wouldn't be something that I would be willing to just tell them, hey, like, I wouldn't be the guy that says, hey, yo, I watch anime. I think it's cool. Like when people, like, especially same thing for video games. I feel like I've come across a lot of times where people are like, I don't play video games. I'm too old for that shit, or I'm not a kid no more, and this and that. And only within the last few years that I remember, I would sometimes when like there's this one situation at work where the dude I work with, they were talking about video games, and then like they feel like they weren't him and another kid that works in a different department. He was talking about that video games are not. I understand the dude I work with, because he's older. He's a lot older, and so I understand. It's like my dad. They just don't have an interest in it. But the other dude's the same age as me, maybe a year older, a year younger, somewhere around there. And he was like talking shit on like people who play games, as far as like it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
They can be doing something way more productive. And I was like, and I told him, like, I play video games. I think video games are cool. I feel like video games are slept on, and I think there's a game for everyone, whether it's the casual guy or the hardcore, whatever. But I think they're slept on.
I guess because when it comes down to the argument of it's a waste of time, it's like, yeah, but I think there's a bunch of things that are a waste of time. So watching TV is the same shit. So if you binge watch shows, if you watch movies, if you consume any form of entertainment through the TV, what's the difference of watching it and playing it? So I don't get why there's such a hate towards it. But I think it's possible to be addicted to anything, right? And turn anything into
unhealthy.
Yeah. Anything. That's what anything. So because of that, I mean, you could say people, there's like movie junkies and all they do is watch movies. So it would be the same thing for them. I think as long as you don't take it too far and you're your own judge of what's too far, right? You should know of like, damn, I'm pushing it. Yeah, as long as you don't do that, you'll be all right.
Yeah, because if you're responsible with what you do, I feel like if you enjoy something, why would you set a limit to like how much, like be like, okay, I'm only gonna watch 2 movies today, right? Knowing that you can watch 4 and it's not gonna change. Like let's say you had kids, right, and you had certain responsibilities around the house or at work or whatever, and you got them done. They were done. Your kids were good, and for whatever reason, your kids slept for a long time, or you wanted to stay up later and watch it or whatever. I feel like you why wouldn't you be able to enjoy watching 3 movies back to back?
I think the argument is like you can be doing something that's more beneficial. Like you could be developing a skill. You can be doing something that makes you more money. You can be acquiring more knowledge. Even though that I feel like you do learn from movies and TV shows and video games, right? Because there's a whole story in there. So you get to almost just like when it comes to video games and subtitles, I feel like it had made me a better reader. Even if it was just a little bit. You know, it makes you a better reader when you're constantly reading subtitles. Even with like going back to the anime thing and you're watching it sub, right? So you have to pay attention to the subtitles. Now you're multitasking because you're trying to... Have you ever noticed when you're watching the show, like sometimes you get too caught up in reading the subtitles that you're not watching the shit because you're trying to keep up with them because the dialogue is picking up and pace.
Sometimes you miss stuff.
Yeah, you miss stuff, and I don't like that. So sometimes I'll go back and then I have to watch it again because I'm so distracted trying to keep up with the subtitles. And then I'm not watching the action. It's kind of like... It's kind of hard to stay, not all the time, but just in certain parts when the dialogue picks up and the thing goes a lot faster. I think that's...
Yeah, I did notice that early on when I first started watching it. But I think there are certain times where you get the gist of it. Like you don't... Because I'd rather watch it. I'd rather watch it and miss a little bit of the dialogue. But you read enough, you skim it. And I've gotten good enough where I know... I don't have to rewind anymore. I'll get everything. I'll understand everything because if I don't catch the words, you see it in the visuals. So when what's happening or whatever,
you can put 2 and 2 together.
2 and 2 together. So you get the majority of the story. I don't feel like I miss. Sometimes I'll rewatch episodes though, just because they were so good. So then I get to reread everything. So but
I'll go back if I like a certain part or I miss something. While I'm watching it, I'll go back.
And just pay attention directly to the words?
Yeah, and just pay more attention. No, because I'll look at the dialogue first. I'll look at the subtitles first. And if I miss a part of the action or something like that, then I'll go back. Like 30 seconds, and then I'll watch it back. Because to me, I don't like missing any dialogue. Even in video games, I don't like missing any dialogue. You know how sometimes in video games, when you're traveling from one point to another, the dialogue kicks in, right? And if you go too fast, and you reach the point too quick, it will cut the dialogue off. And it would just advance you to the next thing, to the next scene.
Because you're at the end already?
Because you're going too fast. But I don't like that. So sometimes in video games, I'll slow down and I'll make sure the dialogue is over
before you move on.
I'll still sometimes just stay still before I move on because I don't want to miss the dialogue because I feel like the dialogue is very important into making everything make sense. And I feel like if everything makes sense, the more it makes sense, the more I enjoy it. Because if I'm missing something, I don't like watching something and or playing something and being hours in and something popping up in the dialogue or in the story. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, what happened? I never seen this guy before. Or they didn't talk about this. I don't get it. I don't like that. Because it makes me seem like, damn, I missed out on something. So I like to...
And you can't just rewind.
Yeah, I like to ensure that I get it. That's why I don't like doing that in certain parts.
Yeah, I think Red Dead. I think Red Dead has been the most interesting as far as story. And even when it comes to like, I think it's like The Last of Us. I think that I think The Last of Us was good, but I think the Red Dead, the story, maybe because you perform like this, like you feel like you know the character. And you want him to win, and even though in reality he's a bad guy, huh? Yeah. Even though he's a bad guy, and you want Arthur to win still, and you don't want him to die, and it's weird. It's just good storytelling, huh? It's good.
But I think,
character creation.
I think that's in everything though, and even in real life, because when you don't know somebody and you just know them for what they've done, you're more judgmental on them. But if he's your brother or your friend or your cousin, and you're like, man, I know him, and he's a good person, but he fucked up, or this, whatever. You sympathize more than with him, and that's the same thing with when you play video games and you fucking murder, and just because he has personal problems and you can relate with his personal problems, you're like,
he's not that bad.
He's not that bad, or you accept it, or you root for him. It's crazy because when have you ever been the main character of a game and been a bad person and been like, I don't want him to win. I want him to die. I want this to happen to him. And is that possible to do? Like, because then that would mean you would not like the main protagonist. And if you don't like the main protagonist, then
you're not going to want
to play the game.
Yeah.
So maybe you can, I don't know if that's possible, but if it was in some way, I think maybe the only way to do it is maybe to have multiple protagonists and just let you play as the one you like, and then play small parts of with that person you don't like. But then I don't know how that would work. That's kind of what they did with The Last of Us though, because they made you play as Abby, and everybody hated Abby. Right. And then when I'm like, it's so true because we wanted to play.
Because you only get so much time. The game is only so long, and you only get so much time to play as a person you wanted to play as. It's like if we were playing Red Dead and we were playing as Arthur for like till we were like, damn, this is a good ass character, right? And then they took it away from you, and then you ended with the drunk dude, the drunk guy or whatever. That's lazy, always sleeping all the damn time.
Oh yeah, the uncle.
Yeah, the uncle, that dude. And then you ended it with him, and then his shit was like, it was kind of trash. And you like, I would have much rather in those 5 hours, the last 5 hours of the game that I played, much rather just stuck it with Arthur than stuck it with the old man. So you only get so much time to play. So when they switched from Abby to, what's the girl's name?
That's the girl's name's Abby. And Ellie?
Ellie, yeah, Ellie. Because that's the two main people that everyone wants to see, right? Is Ellie and
Joe.
Joe, yeah, that's what they wanted to see, and they did it so good because it's like they're not really dad and daughter, huh? They're not really dad and daughter, but they have this like dad-daughter thing.
Yeah, the bond,
and then it's like the awkwardness is like so real, huh? The awkwardness and when he came in and played that song. And it really like,
oh yeah,
I'm like, they really know how to set the mood to, like, you really know, like, it seems so real. Like, it seems like a TV show. Like, these are real people. And this is a real story. And
especially now with graphics advancing and getting so much better.
It looks good.
And when it looks good, I think a lot of people be like, graphics don't really matter, but I think they do. to an extent. I think you could have a fun game with bad graphics or decent graphics. But I think when you have a good game, if you take that same good game that was lacking in graphics and you enhance the graphics, it only makes it better. It only makes it better. And especially because in video games, you spend a lot of time, especially in these long stories. So you're in the world forever, at least like 30 hours, 40 hours. So it's pleasing to look at it. And it makes you, I don't know, maybe it does something to make you more interested in it. Because that's the first thing you see when you load it up, right? You see the graphics. And then it's the story, and then it's whatever else.
You remember a game? Do you remember a game that you have like? Well, if you had to rate it, right? What's one of the games? Not recent. It would have to be like childhood shit. One of the games that you have like the fondest memories of playing it, whether it was where you were playing it as or at, or anything, as far as just childhood shit.
Well, I think one of the obvious ones would be like Modern Warfare 2. Because just of the amount of time that we put into it, well, I put into it, and then zombies, and then creating my own clan and having other people, strangers,
I forgot about that.
And then getting.
I forgot about that.
Coming home and going straight to the game and just playing the game and being it. That's crazy because I was able to play the game all day, and it's not like I would get tired of it. And now if I play a game for a certain amount of time, I start getting tired. And I'm not just like sleepy tired, but just tired. Like, man, I don't really want to play no more. And I feel like that back then didn't exist.
Yeah,
it was just like I want to play as long as I can play. But maybe it's because you had to stay away from it because you had to go to school. You didn't have all day to do whatever you want to do. And now that you have more time, or you can prioritize it more, maybe that's why. But I think Modern Warfare 2 is one of them.
Do you remember? So do you remember everyone? So how old were you at the time when all this shit was going on? We were living on 427.
Yeah, so I would say I was probably like 14, 15. It was PS3 days, so.
It was PS3 days?
And I don't know if we got that when that came out.
Maybe it's, but it was hot though. It was
hot for a long time. So I don't know how early or late we were, because I don't remember, like, back then we didn't have that much. We didn't have money like that. So if a game came out, I didn't even know when the fucking game would come out. I was just like, I don't even know how I would hear about games.
Yeah, because so we didn't have phones. We didn't have phones, right? We had internet.
Yeah, we had internet. Yeah, we did have internet.
We had internet, but there wasn't Facebook at the time.
But that was already early on.
Yeah, well, there was no Facebook.
Maybe there was Facebook.
Facebook
is old. I don't know, but
I think Facebook. Well, I guess we'd have to find out.
Back to MySpace days, right? But
MySpace. MySpace was Stockton, because I remember when I had a computer, and
because I had a MySpace too. But
MySpace.
But no, MySpace. You didn't really use it like that though, like in the way that people use social media now. At least I didn't. So I don't know how.
So MySpace is foreign to me because it seems like I never fuck with it, at all.
But MySpace was crazy though, because it was more. I think it displayed more of your character. You were able to express yourself more, because when you went to your page, remember how you would be able to customize the background, and you would be able to load a song. So when people, and you had like top friends.
Remember that? I remember top friend stuff. I don't think I had a MySpace. I don't think so. But I don't know.
I did. I had one.
Because I don't remember ever modifying anything. I do remember people saying, "Put me in your top. Put me on your top." They would always say that.
Oh, I didn't see. I don't remember. It was an optional thing. I thought it was like kind of like Snapchat now. Like if you talk to somebody consistently, it puts them in the best friends category, or whatever. I thought it was like
your
that.
Phone.
I thought it was like that, but maybe you're right. I think you did.
You did it. You put your people in your top 5, and when you had a top 5, when anybody that came to your page, they would see your top 5 people. So everybody will always say, like, "Hey, put me in your top 5" all the time. I remember hearing that. I knew what they meant, but I never actually. I don't think I had a MySpace. I don't think so, because I don't remember doing any of that. But I do remember not having a computer, not having a MySpace, and I remember you having MySpace, but I don't remember anything else about it.
And then Tom, being your first friend, Tom.
Oh yeah,
Tom. But whatever happened to No, that's MySpace.
Oh.
So whatever happened to him, like, where's he at today? Is he still like developing stuff? But I think he was just, I think, a student or something.
I don't know, but that's MySpace is what gave birth, huh? Gave birth to everything else?
I think so. I think so, because I think that was, and then Facebook came around, and then everybody was like, they weren't hopping on the Facebook wave, but eventually they did, and then Facebook got popping.
And Facebook was the shit, and then what came on next? Vine?
Instagram, right?
Vine.
Well, I don't know.
I don't have Vine.
I don't know about. Yeah, maybe it was Vine, but I don't know.
Maybe there's some other shit too, but I think I remember Vine being.
Vine was popping. Vine was TikTok before TikTok, right? And Vine was actually really good.
I thought it was hella good too. I thought it was hella good too. I have no idea. They said it was to do to funding, something to do with funding.
But it's like a lot of people came from Vine, like Logan Paul, right? Logan Paul and them. A lot of the comedians nowadays, they came from that time too.
And the memes, right? Where the memes come from? Memes
came from, I think.
Was it not Vine?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the original where I can't track
where it originated.
But I think the first time when's the first time you seen a meme?
I think on Vine.
On Vine?
I think
Vine was videos though.
It was videos, but they would have like it'd be a video, but it would just be with photos. Where it would just like it would play video, but it would be photo switching.
I don't know.
And then it would be like 5 seconds. Vine was like 5 seconds.
No, it was like 6 seconds.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all you had. And so you had to make something interesting and funny in like 6 seconds.
And that's hella crazy. Yeah, like, and it just goes to show how many creatives out there, right? Because when Vine went, you would think like, where the fuck the creatives go? Where all the creators go? But I think the creators need a platform with tools, and I think to make it easier on them, to allow them to be just creatives, just create. And I think that's why we're starting to see them back now with TikTok. Because TikTok is booming. I think there's a lot of funny people on there. There's a lot of people who make good content on there.
Yeah, I know. I discovered I discovered a lot of stuff on TikTok, but I never fuck with TikTok. I remember I downloaded TikTok, and then because I remember, so the first interaction I had with TikTok is just everybody talking about it, right? And you would see stuff on Facebook from TikTok or whatever, and then I remember talking to you about it, and you were like, "Yeah, TikTok's not for kids." Like,
oh yeah, because I remember. Well, our nieces, they all had them, right? They all had TikTok. And then I remember I downloaded it just to see what's up with it. And it was just like a bunch of like girls twerking and a bunch of like, I feel like adult type stuff. Like just not necessarily of all like all sexual stuff, but like just swearing and all that type of stuff. And normally, like, I think, well, to me, it's like they're too young for that, especially with the twerking stuff. And I think it just has a lot of influence over the youth. So it was like, what the heck? I didn't expect that when I opened that. But I think now it's gotten a lot better. But I mean, it's still kind of like that. But I think it's got a lot better as far as like now there's more people
doing stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So I remember talking to you about it, and you telling me that it's not for kids, right? And then the dude at work got it, the mechanic, the older dude, and he got it, and he was showing me what was on there, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm talking about. It's not for kids for sure. And then Malachi, I remember Malachi telling me about it.
What was just like
it was just, but he hit. But I'm not sure if it was just him,
because there's like crazy shit on TikTok sometimes. Like there's people who have like killed themselves on live, and then there's like, I think like there's like sneaky people who make accounts like the cartel, and then they upload videos, and then I think they don't get taken down within a certain amount of time. So you will see like people. There was a video, I believe, of I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but I just heard about it, of people playing soccer with a head. With a head. So before it got taken down. But something like that, right? Something like that for your kid to be exposed to. And we're talking, what, 6 years old, 7 years old? And your kid to be exposed to something like that. Maybe they see it and they don't believe it. But I just think we have to, this has to be like a a certain thing that we don't like, we can't tolerate a certain level of like that far to our kids.
Exposure, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially they're too young. I feel like the kids are gonna, especially when you give a kid a phone, give a kid access to internet. It's like you're giving them access.
I think, and then nowadays everybody got a phone. That's why it's like I wouldn't give my kid a phone, and because I don't want no outside source teaching them. Because now they're learning from me, and then they pick up that phone and they're learning from others. And when they're learning from others, it distracts them from learning from me. And as my kid, I just want you to learn from me and me alone. And then once I feel you're old enough and like once I feel you're ready for that, I'll give you the phone. But I just think if I give you the phone, it's almost like it's corrupting you, because you're just seeing the world, right? Because if you look at the internet, what you see on TikTok and what you see on Facebook is not the world that we see when we go to the store. Like, that's not what I've experienced. Yet so many people are influenced by it. You can tell now on a bunch of things how things have changed. If you look at how girls dress when we were in high school or when we were in middle school to how girls dress now in middle school, you can see the influence. They're being influenced by something, right? And what's that?
There's got to be social media.
Right. And because I didn't have to worry about social media, like, a video might pop up on me and me being embarrassed in high school. I didn't have to worry about that. I feel like nobody was on that. That wasn't that too long ago either. But I feel like now you have to worry about, like, if an embarrassing picture comes out, it can be spread like that. And boom, the whole school knows. And it takes an embarrassing moment and like highlights it to everybody. So I think now it's way more different. And maybe that's why a lot of people care about their presence online, because that's crazy now. And I feel like we didn't have to worry about that. And there was phones, there was social media.
But there was no video on.
Well, there was video, but I think that it wasn't like
it wasn't as you couldn't. It was real weird though if you see a video here and there, and it's like nowadays people have the quality on their phone to be able to hey, that's you 100%. You got freckles and stuff.
Yeah, and how quick it is.
Yeah,
and right, you can upload quick,
and you can upload it to
same day,
everything,
and send it to all your friends.
Yeah.
In a group chat, boom, everybody has.
Yeah, because I feel like back then to upload stuff, it was not as easy as it is now. I mean, it was still simple, but it was like there was some navigation you had to do, and nowadays you just record on the app itself, huh? And then and then do it, because you would have to. I don't know, because I never put up videos and stuff, but I knew it wasn't as simple as it is now. You just pick your phone up now, you open the app, and every app that you have has got a record thing or whatever.
Damn near, yeah.
Yeah, and you just record and then just upload it, and then that's it.
Yeah, you have to upload it, but that's what's crazy about social media today. So that definitely had influence over the kids, right? When you know that type of stuff can happen to you. And if you get into a fight, it's going to be recorded and it's going to be up there. See, so like if we can look back at like, well, when I was in elementary and middle school and all the fights that I got into, none of them are recorded, right? None of them are recorded because of the time we were in. But today's kids in middle school and elementary school, bet it's recorded.
By somebody?
But I almost wish mine were recorded.
That's what I was going to ask you.
But it's like, because
it's just funny to look
just
at.
to look back on, like, right? Just to look back on.
And you had a mic on you, so you can see what
a mic on you.
Yeah, so you can see what you guys are talking about.
I just think
beforehand and during.
I just think I think as a kid I was very unique since the beginning, because I remember, having our cousin Michael spray paint my it was a suitcase with my name on it. Or he painted it. I'm not sure if he spray painted it or he painted it, but it was clean. Like he can draw, and that shit was clean. And I took a suitcase, like the ones you take to the airport, and with the wheels, and I would pull it with my books, And you know how like they have the straps inside for like, I don't know what the straps are for. Maybe for like your clothing.
Oh yeah.
I would do that to my books. And I was the only kid doing that in school. Nobody. I still haven't seen nobody to this day do that. Right. And it was cool because nobody had a problem with it. The teachers didn't tell me nothing. Nobody told me nothing. They just allowed me to be me. When I feel like you can't do that nowadays, right? If you take a suitcase to school, especially now with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, you're not taking a suitcase to school.
And then yeah, they might say something. I guess it depends where you're at, but certain schools, especially schools that they like. Well, I remember when me and Chelly went to Saginaw High, and you walked in there, metal detectors.
Oh yeah,
and metal detectors, and then you're getting the little wand. The guy comes in with the little wand and checks you, make sure that you don't got nothing on you. Then I'm like, this is high school. I'm like, it's hella crazy when you got metal
but you
detectors.
see, like, but what caused that? Like, there has to be a history for that, right? So if there is, you would think that something bad happened before, but it seems like nothing really has happened here.
I know that at the time I don't know. I have no idea what happened. I never looked into it, but
but something happened,
something happened
because why would they do that?
Yeah,
they wouldn't just raise the
money.
security and spend money for no reason.
Yeah, yep.
So something has happened. Somebody was bringing stuff in. Maybe it was drugs. Maybe.
But it had to be knives or guns. Or
something because metal detectors.
Yeah,
something that posed a threat to the other kids. So that's why they had it.
But it's high school. I've never, and this was nobody.
And this was before, huh?
Yeah, this was before all this was in like 2000. This was like 2007.
That's what I'm saying. So it was like people ain't doing that now when they need to. Every school should damn near have metal detectors now. I mean, it's a hassle, right, to wand down all the kids, but
it's like it's not a good image for the school. But I guess they shouldn't care.
Yeah, but who cares about the image? We care about our kids.
But so, there's like nobody's gonna want to send their kids unless you make it a universal thing.
That's why nobody's gonna want to send their kids. Because they would be like, oh, we would just come back to what we're talking about right now. They have it for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's why
they're like, I don't want my kid to go there because it must
be bad.
It must be a bad school. That's probably why they don't do it. And it all comes down to funding because how many kids go to specific schools depends on. So if there's a school that has so many students, they'll get so much funding from the state. So if the one school doesn't have a lot of kids in there, the funding goes down, then they got to cut programs or teachers or whatever. So it all comes down back to money.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird of the things that as a kid you have to worry about now. Right? Because the school shooting shit is another crazy thing. Like even the idea of having the drills, right? It's crazy. To be like, oh, we had what do they call them? That's what they call them, drills, or what do they call them? You know, we had it was drills, right? Because it was like fire drill, tornado drill.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what they would call it, like a shooter drill or something. I have no idea what the hell they would call it.
But I don't know what it's called. But the fact that they have that for school shootings now is crazy because we didn't have that, and we're talking not too long ago. That's the thing because we were. How long has it been? I don't know. Maybe it's been a little while.
Well, I graduated in 2011. So that's...
Well, so I was probably like 2013, 2014, whatever.
2013.
So...
Yeah, because 2 years.
Damn shit. It's been a while. So it's been like 11 years.
Yeah, but that's not long. That's not long.
It doesn't seem like it's that long, but it seems like time is changing like crazy. Things are changing like crazy. Things that were normal 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like fucking gone and buried. You can't find that shit no more. It's done. Like the old ways is done. Now we're in this whole new shit of craziness. Right? It's just a whole nother level.
But when it came to, you remember that was it here in Michigan? I think it was here in Michigan. That it was the thing where there was a kid that took a gun to school, and I think it was here in Michigan. Was it not? The kid that took the gun to school, well, and they had a meeting in the office with the parents about him. Like, I guess is like bad.
I don't know if that was in Michigan. And then a school shooting happened.
Yeah, like, and he had the whole time.
Yeah, that wasn't here.
It wasn't
I think
here?
that was somewhere else. Yeah, but the parents, I think, got arrested for that too.
And then
Because they got him a gun at like 18 or something.
it,
Or lower than that. I don't
lower.
know.
I think it's 16. And but and then they said that they fled. They went somewhere and they found him at a hotel somewhere with like 10 grand cash, and they were like, "Oh, we're just on vacation" or some shit like that.
I don't know. I don't remember the story. I remember it, but I don't remember it like to the detail about what
I don't
happened.
know. It's just like, I feel like owning a gun in itself, if you're of age, is a crazy responsibility as it's of it in itself. But to give a gun to someone who's a minor, I feel like he's got to be ready for it. And there's a lot of kids that are ready for it, but they come from like gun backgrounds. Like they've been hunting with their dad for the longest, and like their dad got them like a hunting rifle, or they're just a nature people or whatever, or just gun people in general from like their parents are, and then they're just born into it. So they're taught gun safety from a very young age. So I understand that some kids are just, depending on everyone's situation, certain kids are ready for guns earlier, but it seems like there's a lot of people too that they don't, I don't feel like they don't really fully respect that having a gun is such a big responsibility. And kids, they say that, you know how they say that the brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25 for men.
I think they were talking about now 27 or something.
It's crazy.
I don't know how true that is, but I think too but do you think if you're old enough to have a gun, you should have one?
No.
Based on like home security and stuff?
No, I feel like if you really want a gun, so there's this YouTuber dude called, I forgot, I don't know what his name is, but the channel is called Clueless Bushcraft, and I came across on him on TikTok, and he explained his story on the guns, and he said he used to be an anti-gun guy. Like, you ban the guns. The guns are bad, right? And I feel like that's similar to where we grew up, right, in Stockton. I remember all the time everyone would tell me guns are bad, right? Guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad. Anyone who has a gun, it more than likely is a bad person, unless he's a police officer, is a bad person. And especially if you're carrying it out and about.
Yeah.
But I was just ignorant to the fact that guns are, they're legal to own, right? If you follow the correct path. In certain states, it's harder. But
I think too, maybe due to the environment too, because it's a bunch of crazy motherfuckers there too. So, because I mean, I know some people who had guns, and they're not responsible people. So, in Stockton, and we were young as fuck,
and it's crazy. It's hella crazy.
Sawed-offs, seeing that. So,
and as little kids,
yeah. But understanding that, oh shit.
So how old were you when you seen your first gun?
When I seen my first gun?
Yeah. Like, not counting my dad. Like, you know how my dad had the shotgun when he killed that snake that was at the house?
Not counting my dad?
Yeah, like, not, because I remember you when I was younger, I remember, like, you know how, I don't know what it is about, it seems like every house we've ever lived in, and I'm not sure if this is just the norm, or is like, it can't be the norm though. Like, it seems like the majority of all our houses that I can remember didn't have closet doors.
Didn't have closet doors?
Yeah. Like, so, like, remember, and
maybe it's just a normal thing, because I think closet doors get in the way, and a lot of times these closets are very small.
Yeah.
So it's just a hassle, and then I think you need special doors for those.
But I remember in Stockton though, in our room, and the room in the middle where we slept at, we did have a door, but it was the slide doors, the 2 slide doors, the white ones. So I do remember that one. But in my mom's room, there was not, and every place that my mom had a room, there usually never was. That I remember. I remember. But getting back to the gun stuff though, the reason why I said that is because I remember my dad told me, my dad was taking a shower, and this was in in Acacia Street. Was it Acacia? I think it was Acacia in Stockton. I remember my dad told me, "Hey, like, go give me some shorts or whatever." Right from his closet, and I was looking for him. And I seen this like container. It was what's the foam stuff called?
Styrofoam?
Yeah, the styrofoam. It was styrofoam, and I was just like, "What the hell is in here?" Because it was heavy. I picked it up and it was heavy, and I was like, "What the heck is in here?" And I because it was a little chipped at the front. It was chipped from somebody trying to open it, and then I just opened it and it was a gun. And I was like, oh shit. And then because everyone's always told me guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad, I never wanted to touch one ever.
But how old were you at the time? Oh, it was Acacia, right?
It was Acacia. It was probably like 2005 or 4. So I was probably like 8 years old.
Well, a similar thing happened to me but it wasn't in Acacia. It was in 427 over there. And, I don't remember why I was in the closet. Maybe the same thing. Maybe my dad told me to go get some shorts or something. I don't know. But I remember going into the closet, and in the corner of the closet, like on the wall, like hidden beneath all the clothes, what I believe it was a shotgun at the time. And I just remember seeing it, but I didn't touch it or nothing. I just remember seeing it. I'm like, oh. And then just like it wasn't even there. Just we got the stuff, whatever. But I remember even as kids, my dad having a pistol, right, and shooting, because we lived in the ranch early on, so he would shoot, huh? You would be able to shoot,
yeah.
And I guess even the farmer had no problem with it, huh? But the farmer lived there?
No, he didn't live there.
Oh, maybe that's why.
No, that he had a trailer there where he would chill at if he wanted to, like if he was there for the day, he had a trailer where he'd chill at. But I don't think he lived there, because he owned a lot of property. He wouldn't live in a trailer. But I remember I've been in there one time when I went in there with my dad, and it would look like a little small house. It had a little table and stuff, but you could tell it was like his office. I think it was like his office. But so how old do you think you were when you seen your first gun? Now that it was not my dad's.
Well,
Do you remember?
I don't really remember like seeing a gun because I mean we were the people we were around were like our age. So I don't remember seeing a gun. It was all about like hearing or being around one, but not really seeing it. And that's just when we were around the older ones, but never really seeing it because they didn't really have it on full display. But as far as like me clearly seeing the gun, like, oh shit, these fools got a gun? Nah. Rumors and hearing like, oh, this fool got guns and this fool got a gun.
Like on them?
No, just they have one.
Oh, they just have one?
No, I don't know if they had it on them, but they have one. And you hear like rumors of like threats and stuff like that. People will shoot this guy or whatever. But I think when it comes to guns, right? So you said people should not, just because you're old enough, doesn't mean you should go get one.
No, I don't think. I think there should be. You should educate yourself, especially if you're not familiar with guns. You should take safety classes. You should go to the range. You should get yourself really comfortable with a gun, know the responsibility, and take all the safety precautions that you could possibly can before you go on and purchase a gun. Because they say like the majority of guns that go off are accidental or something. Like people who get hit are accidental. The people misfiring the gun accidentally.
I don't know.
I think I've heard that somewhere.
You're talking about like when people shoot themselves and stuff.
Well, you shoot themselves, and also just like the amount of accidental fires that go off is super crazy. And it's just due to you're not handling the gun like you should. You're making sure that it's not loaded. You're picking it up the wrong way. You're just handling it not the right way. And I don't feel like I'm there yet. Like right now, for me to say, okay, I'm gonna go and buy a shit ton of guns. I don't feel like I'm there yet. But if I ever decided, I need a gun, I would make sure that I feel 100%. I would make myself real comfortable with whatever gun that I'm looking at. I would do the research. Then I would go to the range, make sure I understand how it works, how to disassemble it, how to maintenance it, how to do everything that I need to do in order to be able to own the gun responsibly. And I feel like everyone who wants to go buy a gun should be prepared for it
and should be able, right?
I think everyone should own a gun. I think everyone who is capable and responsible enough and is willing to do it the correct way, you should own a gun. At least, I'm not saying carrying it. I'm not saying.
I think too. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I just think that also understanding that what comes with that, and the weight of that, because now you have deadly force, right, in your hands, and depending on what you're getting a gun for, right, because you can just get one to have one, you can get one for home defense, and people would argue like, why get a pistol when you can get a shotgun for home defense? But regardless, gun's a gun, and you can kill somebody with it. So I think you have to understand that, like, and accept that when you pick up that gun. When you go strictly to go get a gun for self-defense, you have to understand that if you ever come in a situation where you have to take somebody's life, you gotta accept that with yourself, because you don't know what that's like. So and some people may, right, go get the gun and take it home, and boom, something happens, somebody breaks into their house, and then they can't shoot. And that's crazy, because if you can't shoot, it's almost like you shouldn't have a gun. But at the same time, I understand that it's like people just, there's so much shit that can happen when you shoot that gun. Like, so much scenarios, somebody gets in the way, because it's not like everything's going to be still. It's going to be crazy, right? Craziness when a break-in happens. And it's such a crazy responsibility to be the one who pulls it, right? To pull that trigger and know when to pull it. And you got to like analyze the situation in real time and act like that. And you're acting like that with deadly force. So I just think you need to be able to accept that weight. And you got to be like that, because if it comes to that, you got to be like, if it comes to that, I'm willing. Because a lot of people will say, yeah, I'll shoot this dude. I don't give a fuck. I'll shoot him. But do you know what comes with that? And do you accept what comes with that? Do you accept that maybe the dude runs away and you shoot him in his back, and now you got 20 years on you? Do you accept that too? Right?
I know there's so many. That's why I when I say that those classes that they teach you all the law stuff when it comes to that, because I think a lot of people don't really think about that. So when there is a chance, people always say there is a chance they're gonna confiscate your gun. That's 100%. You shoot anybody, even if it's in your property, they're gonna take the gun for the investigation. They're gonna take it. They're gonna do all that, the analyzing that they need to do, and they might give it back to you, but they might not. But the people, when you go and talk to them, because they this is what they do. They know the laws. They know they'll teach you on what the do's and don'ts are when it comes to home defense, so that you can prepare yourself as best you can for if it ever did happen. The likelihood of it happening is low,
especially too if you're somebody who's not known to be responsible. Then you definitely should go.
Yeah.
I think everybody should go, right?
Yeah.
But if you're known to not be responsible and you want to get a gun, you better go, huh? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to do shit, right? But it's up to you. But I would just say, like, it would be a good thing for you to go. Why not? Why not go? I don't think people really, like you said, they don't understand that, what comes with that. Especially, like I told you, when shit gets real and then there's somebody in your house and you shooting, and then boom, you shoot them at the wrong time or the wrong place, and now it's murder. And now you got 20 on you, 30 on you.
Or let's say too, right?
Yeah.
Let's say a guy comes in, right? And you have zero training. You have a gun, you know how to fire it, but you have zero training on the gun, and you have zero training on shooting it. So you don't know, you're not comfortable with the recoil, right? You don't got proper grip and stance and all that. So you just start firing, right? Because You see a dude
That's what
in
you're
your
gonna
house,
do. You're just gonna shoot. You're not gonna think about nothing.
you just fire, right? Let's say you fire 3 shots, boom, boom, boom. The normal guy is gonna take off running, right? But let's say, depending on how your house's layout is done and where you were at the time and when you fired the gun, let's say somebody was out on the street, just a random dude just walking the dog or whatever, right? And you because of the angle,
Yeah.
you just fired 3 shots, boom, boom, boom. And then didn't hit the dude that broke into your house.
Yeah.
But now you just hit a random stranger.
And now you're responsible.
And now you're responsible for that. And people are like, well,
I was just defending myself.
Yeah. And it's like, to a certain degree, you're like, it's like
they say, like, once that bullet leaves that chamber, wherever it hits, whoever it hits, whatever damage it does, you're responsible for it. So that's why you gotta understand the weight of this. And some people will say, you're just overthinking it, right? You're going too far with it. But I think it's better to overthink and take precaution and be safe as possible. Even if people say, man, you're too safe. It's better to do that than to not be safe, because we know stories personally, of people shooting themselves from a gun. And a lot of times there were those people who love to flex it. And that never made sense to me, but, you know, shit like that happens. And when that type of shit happens, you can die from that shit. So.
Yeah, I remember that this was, I was still young. I was probably like 11 or 12 years old, because we were in Acacia Street. And I remember a lot of times I was at home. I remember the majority of the time I was at home, and the majority of the time you weren't home. When it came to like just after school shit or just weekend stuff. And
it's crazy though. Like, it's crazy. Well, not to like cut you off whatever you're saying, but it's crazy how we were never together, right? Like all the time, going everywhere, hanging out, fucking doing dumb shit together. But maybe that's because you were with Alex and stuff.
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember. It seemed like I was never the nigga to. It seemed like I didn't really fit in. That's what it seemed like, because like people.
Well, before you get into that, just let's go back to your other point, because then we're gonna leave it behind.
Oh, okay. So I think I was like 11 or 12 years old. I want to say, because this was fresh into like Stockton stuff. And I remember Ramon came to the door. And I don't know if he was looking for someone. I forget. But he came to
our door.
He came to our door. He knocked, and I opened the door. And the niggas like, he's like, he said, where you at? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's probably with Alex. And he's like, oh, where's your mom at? And my mom wasn't there. I don't know where my mom was. I was home by myself. I don't think there's nobody there. I don't know. But I was at the house, and I think I was by myself, because. So he asked me, like, he had to have asked me, like, because he for sure he told me, where your parents at, right? And I told him they're not here. My dad was at work, more than likely, and I don't know where my mom was, but there was nobody at the house as far as adults, or Chelly or Nora. I don't think so. And the nigga pulled out a gun.
Ramon did?
Ramon pulled out a gun. And I remember it was like, well, as a kid, it looked huge. It was just a pistol, but it was not a baby pistol.
Oh, yeah. Now that you remember that, yeah, I remember a lot of times now.
Yeah, I think the nigga pulled out like a 45, like a 1911 or something that was of 1911 size. And it was chrome. It was all chrome. And he's like, and he pulled it out. I don't know what the purpose of this was, but I don't know if he was just like coming over just to see what we were doing, and he just had it on him, and he just wanted to show me. But I remember being hella scared when he showed it to me. And then there's like, and it's also like, I don't know where we got this from, but it's like, oh, whenever a situation came where like, I never wanted to be no bitch. Like, no, when something came, I always act, even though I was terrified, I just acted like it was nothing. So this nigga's like, here, and he gave it to me, and I was hella scared, because I didn't know what to do with it. And I'm like an 11-year-old kid or whatever, and I got a gun in my hand, and it's like, you hear all these stories of people saying, shootouts and drive-bys and all that shit. And I'm like, I basically thought like I'm a criminal. If I touch it, I'm a criminal. Like it's set in stone. But it's just because I wasn't aware, right? Because my mom and dad always like drilled this into, or at least into my head. I don't know if it was universal.
Yeah, because I don't really remember them telling me anything about guns and stuff. But I think I was hella young, so I think they were like, he's an angel. He ain't gonna do nothing. Especially because I was like 9, 8.
Yeah.
What is a 8-year-old kid?
How much bad stuff is really gonna?
So really, they were probably trying to tell you because you were on the stage of getting older.
Yeah, I just remember my mom and dad always telling me like don't do gang stuff, gangbangers. The gangbangers shit is not good. Guns are not good. Stay away from guns. Stay away from people who own guns, like shit like that. And I think it was just mainly because they don't want me to get hurt. It wasn't like they were attacking like gun owners in general. It's just they were brought up in the same area that we were brought up, but as adults. In Mexico, it's illegal to own a gun. Nobody has guns. Yeah. So then coming here, and then people got guns. The majority of people who had guns were not doing good shit with them. So
at least where we were at.
Yeah, at least where we grew up. So it's natural for them to tell your kid, stay away from guns. It was just natural.
Well, I mean, why not? You're a kid.
Yeah, but they drilled into like it. They in my head, I always thought anyone who owns a gun is more than likely a criminal or a bad person. So stay away from them. That's what my mentality was. So growing up, especially when we moved here to Michigan, and I started seeing people carrying guns, like just in a holster.
Their hips and shit.
Yeah, and then sometimes I would see people out and about. There's only been a handful of times, but it's been like 3 or 4 times that I remember where I was at a store or I was just at a public place, and a dude had a t-shirt and he like bent down and he had a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, he got a gun. And I'd be like, man, is this dude like a bad guy? I would always be like, this dude a bad guy. But it's because I was ignorant to that good guys have guns too.
Yeah. Well, it's just because where we come from.
Yeah. So
and image of a gun comes usually with a negative.
Yeah. So going back to the Ramon shit, yeah, he came over, and I don't know what he came over for, but I remember he pulled it out. He's like, look what I got. And then he showed it to me. And I was hella scared. And I was like, and I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, that's tight. And then he's like, here. And he gave it to me. And because I don't know where we got that from, but I remember thinking like, I can't let this nigga know I'm a bitch. Cause I was feeling like a bitch because I didn't want to touch it. Yeah. And because he gave it to me, I just couldn't, I just grabbed it.
So how you grab it? Like,
he gave it to me. He gave it to me like.
Was he pointing at you or?
No, he went like this.
Oh, put it sideways?
Yeah, he was like this. And then he went like here. And then I grabbed it like this so I had my hand on the barrel. Yeah. I just grabbed it like that from him because he had the bottom of it. So I just grabbed it with both hands because it was heavy. I grabbed it with one hand, but it was heavier than I thought. And this is me being an 11-year-old kid. So then I grabbed it with both hands. And then I grabbed it like this on my hand. And then I grabbed it and I put my finger on the trigger and I pointed it at the floor. And I'm like, this is heavy. And I told him, hey, you carry this around with you? And he's like, for today? And then I'm like, okay. And then I gave it back to him and then he grabbed it. But I'm like, but I had my finger on the trigger. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't remember if I don't think I pointed it at him, like when I was grabbing it and stuff, but I don't know.
See, but the craziness, right? Because who knows if that shit was loaded?
No, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know.
Who knows? I mean, when it comes to them, they were more knowledgeable when it came to that. But, I mean, they were young as hell, too.
Yeah, my mom was only like 2 years older than me, or 3 years older than me. He was a year younger than Nora.
Well, I'll block his name just because I feel like I don't want to, put him in a negative light. But yeah. But that's a crazy thing. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, but all my thoughts, when it came to him though, all my thoughts that I had from him were always good. He was always hella nice to me.
I mean, they were like, I think it were very similar to us.
Do you remember him ever picking on you? But like Big Brother picking on you?
Yeah, fucking with me? Yeah, hell yeah.
He always did that. I remember
he beat me up.
Yeah, he would always do that, like to toughen you up, huh? He would always do that. He'd be like, "Come on." He would tell me and Carlos, "Come on, you two versus me." Yeah. He'd always tell me this shit like that, and I'm like, now that I think back at it, it's like, it's like big brother shit. Like the nigga's just trying to toughen you up because he knew like you can't be soft.
That fool did the same thing to me and Alex. He said, y'all two versus me. And we went, we had the gloves on. We all had gloves on. Me, him, and Alex had gloves on. So then when we went, we started fighting, whatever. And I was just punching him and Alex was punching him. And this fool punched me in my stomach. And like, he punched me hard. I got winded. I can't breathe. And I was like, damn, like I was like that. And I didn't want to fight no more. But like, that fool didn't take it easy. So it's like, but like, where we were at though, you have to know how to fight. You had to be ready to fight. But like, yeah, that fool was solid with me. And I don't got no bad things to say about him. He was solid with me. And he stood up for me too. He stood up for me when them motherfuckers pulled up to fight me at 15 deep. 15, 13 deep.
And this was who?
This was... right? Because
his friends or family or what?
I don't know who the fuck it was, but he was coming with motherfuckers heavy. And we were at Alex's house. And me and him had problems from before shit that has happened in school. And he came with like, I would say like 13 to 15 people.
And how?
Right from what I remember. But let's say 10 to 13. But it was fucking a lot of people.
But and they had ages. So give me your age, right?
Okay.
And give me first, if you can remember what the amount of people, ages from year to year.
Okay, so I had to be like, I had to be like 9, right? 9 or 10. Had to be.
And people are pulling up to fuck you up 15 deep.
Fuck yeah, they were. And based off of him, because me and him didn't get along.
I wonder what that nigga said though. I wonder what he said to get all these people riled up to come fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I think people were just down for him. And I think in Stockton, like anybody follows anything. People would tell us like, hey, come on, let's go. We're going to go watch a fight or whatever. And then everybody pulls up. But these fools pulled up and they pulled up with weapons like sticks and shit like that. I don't remember exactly what they had, but they had like sticks and everything. And he came and I was inside the front yard. So I was looking over. So we were looking at each other and he said, he was talking to Alex. And then Alex came to me and said, he wants to fight you. And then I said, I'll fight him then. Remember that same shit that you have, that I ain't going to be no bitch, right? So when he said fight, I was like, I'll fight him then. And then Alex told me, nah, he got a knife on him. He's going to try to stab you. Don't go out there. And then when he said that, I was like, oh shit, I'm not going out there then. Fuck that. So we were just looking over each other through the fence, right? And then Ramon, he's like, come on. And he went to the backyard and they would have golf clubs. They had a fuck ton of golf clubs. And Ramon got one. He grabbed one, gave it to Alex. He grabbed one and he threw it to me. I caught it. And then we went back to the front. Ramon opened the gate and he took first step forward and he was in front of me. So almost like a triangle. He's in front of me. Alex is to the left of me and I'm on the right. And I'm staying behind, right, from this fucking mob of people. And Ramon is like, come on, motherfucker, let's go. And he was smacking that shit on the floor, the golf club. And was like, no, I don't want to fight you. I want to fight him. You motherfucker, fight me. Talking all that shit. And then that motherfucker scared them away and they left me alone. But I'll always remember what that fool did for me because they would have fucked me up. And if Alex didn't tell me, hey, don't go out there, I would have went out there like a dumbass because I was just, oh, fool want to fight? Let's fight then, you know? So if he didn't tell me, who knows? But that fool.
But if you just put it into perspective, right? You put it into perspective that this is all happening to like a 10-year-old.
I think a lot of people probably won't even believe it.
It's like it's crazy to think that a 10-year-old, right?
And that's going back to the crazy shit too. The reason why it sucks that they're not here no more is because he would be able to validate what I'm saying. Right.
And then also add to it. He would
be like, I'd tell him like, hey, remember? And he'd be like, yeah, and we got 2 witnesses. So like, and it's not even like I'm trying to prove anything. I'm just telling what happened. But I'll always remember that because who the fuck's going to stand up for you, right? Against like 10, 13 people. Yeah, but okay, when going back to the age shit, just to give people more like information and detail about who it wasn't like adults. It was, well, it's probably my age, so 9 or 10. So the rest of them had to be teenagers, if not like 11, 12, 13, 14, within that bracket. No, like 18-year-old, nothing like that. But so they were like teens, early teens. But still, 10 or 13 of those motherfuckers. And maybe they were just there to like, I don't know, back him up, but maybe they weren't really going to do shit. You know, maybe me and him would have got into it. But everybody remembers that fool was a crazy motherfucker. He was like, something might be wrong in the head type stuff because he was extreme. Yeah. He was extreme.
It was anger. It was anger management shit.
Probably, bipolar shit or something, because he would get angry like a motherfucker. And when he would tell me at school, I'm gonna stab you. He would tell me that. And he would like, and I believe him because that motherfucker's crazy. So me and Alex would walk home all the time together. And well, going back, like if to explain that, right? The reason why me and had a problem in the first place is because we were in the class and he was a bully. Like he liked to fuck with people. And he would always fuck with people. And one day he tried fucking with me. And I was sitting down and I don't remember what he said to me. I don't remember what he said to me, but he said something to me. And I got up and I talked shit back. And he didn't expect that. And he looked at me and he's like, "You're scared of me." And I told him, "I ain't scared of you." Going back to like, I ain't no bitch, right? And this is happening in front of the teacher and everything. Nobody's saying shit. He's like, "All right, if you're not scared of me, meet me at the train tracks after school then." I said, "All right."
Because the train tracks were just on the other side of the fence of the school.
Yeah, of the school.
Right next door.
And I'm like, "All right then." So later on that day, I think it was like lunchtime or something, I told Alex, "Hey, I'm going to go fight this dude if you want to come watch." And he's like, "All right." So then after school, we waited by the train tracks, 15, 20 minutes, he didn't show. So the next day, Alex went talking shit, laughing. "Oh, this fool's scared, all this shit. That pissed that motherfucker off. And ever since then, that motherfucker been like, "I'm going to stab you, I'm going to do all this shit to you."
But do you remember, because I remember, so all this took place prior to, because we were cool with him for a little bit.
We were like semi-cool. But this, you know what's crazy? It was afterwards, I think.
This was all afterwards?
I think it was afterwards.
Yeah, because
like we were cool. We had problems and then we were semi-cool.
Yeah.
But we weren't really cool. Like I never really looked at him as like a friend.
Yeah.
But he was around and we didn't have no problem with him.
Yeah.
And then after that, we went back to problems again. Because when we left, I wasn't cool with him. And we had problems with him.
Yeah, because I do remember I remember he came over with I think it was like a three-wheeler.
A three-wheeler?
A three-wheeler or like a Ninja. It was Ninja. The little small baby bikes. He came over with it one time. And he didn't want to let me ride it. I remember he was like, for whatever reason, he was like, he didn't want, I did something to him. And I don't even know what I did to him, or I said something and he's like, "You can't ride it." He told me, "You can't ride it."
But maybe it was because it wasn't his or something.
He let everybody else ride it.
Okay.
Carlos was riding it. Everybody was riding it. And then he just wouldn't let me ride it. And
probably like, because he didn't like me. And maybe he knew.
And I remember we had matches. And I lit one and then I threw it at him because he didn't want to let me ride it. And I threw it at him. And he said it burned his cheek. It hit him in the cheek. And it was still lit. I threw it at him and it hit him in the cheek. And he started crying. He's like, "You burned me," whatever. And I'm like, "Well, you should have let me ride the shit." But I remember I never seen anything like, he never said anything to me as far as like getting payback or whatever. But I didn't mean to burn him. I just threw it at him. I was trying to just like throw it at the floor or throw it past him or whatever. I didn't mean to hit him with it, but it did hit him in the cheek. And then he had a little red mark on his cheek. And he's like, "You burned me," or whatever. But
I think maybe because you were bigger than him. Like he like that fool. Like I mean, that fool was crazy and he was down, right? But I think like he was scared a lot. Well, we were all scared, fuck, right? But I just think like he was, like I said, he was a bully, right? He just fuck with people. He just like to fuck with people, and the bully won't fuck with somebody he knows that's gonna fuck him up. So if they're older than him, he's not gonna fuck with him, and that's how it was. He thought he could bully me, and when it didn't go his way, almost like he had to prove himself. And then that's why we had so much problems. And that's why he started threatening me with, I'm gonna stab you and shit. Because I feel like he's the person that like, I have to win. I have to get the last
At all costs.
laugh.
Right.
I had to get the last laugh. And that's why when he was threatening me with all that shit, I remember, because me and Alex, like, we would always meet up at the train tracks to go to school. At the same, like, so if he woke up earlier than me, he would wait at the end of the train tracks right in front of our house. He would just wait there at the post until I came. Or I would do the same. So one day I go, this is after the knife shit, the telling me he's gonna stab me. I go, I see Alex, whatever, and then he's like, here. And he pulls out pocket knives. And he had 4 of them bitches. And one was longer and one was a mini one. And he had 4. So he kept 2 and he gave me 2. I kept one in my pocket and I put the other one in my shoe. And that's how I would go to school. Now,
and this is you like 8 years old, 9 years old?
All this happened with Stockton time. So
yeah,
it's hard to really say how
but it's
old.
Little kid stuff though.
I was anywhere from 8 to 10. So with knives in my shoe and in my pocket.
For safety.
Yeah, because he was telling me he was going to stab me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when all that shit was going down, it never occurred to me like, let's talk to an adult. Let's do this. Nah, it's like, nah, I have to protect myself. Even as a kid, how much can I protect myself, right? I didn't know how to use a knife or swing a knife, but I just knew I have a knife. So fuck yeah, I'll use it somehow.
Because if he's got a knife, I gotta have a knife, and it evens it out.
And then I remember other kids having problems with him because, like I told you, he was a bully. So there was this other kid, his name was Francisco, like mine. And you remember him?
I don't. I remember him. I remember where he lived, but I don't remember his face that well.
I remember he knew that we had problems with, and he came to me and he's like, "Hey, will you walk me home?" And I was like, "What? Oh, why?" And he's like, "Because been telling me he's gonna beat me up and after school and stuff like that." And I guess he must have seen that we weren't afraid of him. So that's why he asked me. And then I told him, yeah, whatever, I'll take you, whatever. So I walked him all the way home. And then we got to his house. And then we started playing video games and shit like that for a little bit. And then I walked back home.
It's crazy the amount of freedom, huh? The amount of freedom we had.
That we had, yeah. The fucking, yeah, because like just let us walk blocks away from the house. No worry. Just go. And then I would be missing all day. Almost like missing case, huh? Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, like I haven't seen him since he left the school, and it's 7:00, and he hasn't got home, huh?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and people, like when I talk to Joe about it, and I tell her about like the things that I did as a kid, she's like, it's crazy, right? Like, but to me, like, yeah, I did some shit, but nowhere near like other people, like. But even then, I think we're so out of the norm that it's like, what the fuck, right? To be robbing houses and doing dumb shit like that as a kid. Especially like, what the fuck, right? To expect a 8, 9, 10-year-old breaking into houses, stealing shit.
But it wasn't you waking up and saying, I'm going to rob a house.
No, it was just like you come across somebody and they're like, let's go. And then, right. Yeah, because I remember the first time I went into a house, it was an apartment and I was riding my bike around. Remember, like you said, we had a lot of freedom. So I was riding my bike around the blocks and I seen a kid from school. And I know his name, but I'm going to stop saying names because but like we shouldn't be saying names. Because maybe, who knows? Yeah. But I seen him, whatever. He seen me and he told me like, hey, we're about to go into this house and grab some shit. I don't know what he said. Something like steal some shit. And when I heard that, I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Like, no. And then he said, come on. He kept telling me, come on, let's go. He's like, there's going to be money there and everything. We're going to split it. And then for some reason, when I heard money, I was like, fuck it. Let's go. So then we went. And we went over there by Food for Less. I've tried finding the place on Google Maps from what I remember of where the fuck is that, and I can't find it. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it's no longer there no more. I don't know what it was, because it was like, okay, so when we got there, it was me, him, a grown girl, probably like in her mid-20s, and another kid there. We were probably like, yeah, so it was like 3 kids and 1 girl. That's what it was. And the apartment, it was one of those where you walk downstairs.
It was like a basement?
Yeah, kind of like a basement. You walk downstairs, and then there was a door. But there was a table in front of the door, blocking the door. So the girl told us, hey, you guys get in and grab the table and pull it out. So I jumped over, and I picked up the table, and we got the table out, right? So now the path is clear. And the girl didn't break the door open. She didn't do none of that shit. She had a key. So she must have knew the people. I don't know what the fuck.
She was probably the dude's girlfriend.
I don't know what the fuck it was, but she had a key. And she opened the door, and as soon as she opened the door, full rampage mode. We just started destroying that shit.
But who initiated that?
The rampage?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because as soon as you walked in, and I wonder what the relationship was for that kid and the girl.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I wouldn't think it would be me that started the rampage. But I followed the rampage because I just looked fun, destroying shit, right? So we just started destroying shit, throwing shit everywhere. Did
you check the fridge?
No.
You should have checked the fridge.
Like, they searched most of the house because the house wasn't that big.
I think the girl's objective was money, huh?
Yeah, she knew them. She knew there was something there. She knew they had something. So when we opened the door, there was a room to our right, and then there was like the living room already. As soon as you open the door, it was already there. And then you go over there, and I think over there was the kitchen, but I never went over there. I never went to that side. So when I went in, they ran in, and there was like cajones and stuff, shelves and stuff, and they threw all that shit on the floor.
But like, you talking about like they just...
No, like just the stuff that's on the floor, on the thing, and just
top?
Threw all that shit on the floor. So I turned this way to my right. I seen the room. I ran over there, and I started throwing shit too. Right? But
they told you that the lady specified before you went in, like when you had...
No talking. I don't even know the girl's name.
She didn't say like, okay...
All she said was, move the table.
She didn't say look for money, look for nothing?
No.
So when you went in there, you just thought we're in here to destroy?
No, I knew we were in there to steal because the dude told me to steal.
Oh, okay.
We were going to go to steal some shit.
Okay.
So I knew we were looking for something. I just didn't know what. And maybe she said something, but from what I can recall, I don't remember her saying anything. So when we went in... When I told you, I turned to my right and I seen the room and I just started destroying shit as well. And there was this calendar of like the Virgin, the Virgin Mary. And I just swung it just like how I was swinging everything else, right? So the thing was on a nail. And when I flipped it, right, the thing, it showed the back and I seen there was an envelope taped to the back of the calendar. Those calendars, you know what I'm talking about? The Mexican calendars?
Yep.
And I seen it and I was like, what the hell is that? So when it came back down from spinning, I grabbed it and I looked behind it and I looked and I stuck my hand in there and there was like $400 or $500 in there. And I grabbed all the money, hella excited, right? Cause I'm like, oh shit, there's hella money here. And I was like, I looked and there was nobody here. And I was like, I'm gonna pocket all this shit for me. But then I was hearing shit and I was like, nah, they're gonna catch me. And I was like, I just for some reason was like, nah. So I told them, hey, I found money. And the girl's like, what? Where? And I was like, I got it. And she's like, give it to me. And I went and I took it to her. And then she counted it and it was, I assume it was probably like $400 or $500. And then she's like, okay. And she started giving the kids $50. $50. And she's like, since you found it, here's $100. And she kept the rest.
It had to have been more than $500.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
It had to have been because...
I think maybe that's what I can assume.
Because if she's handing out $50 to like 11-year-olds?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was like, I don't remember if it was like a clean 50, just one bill, or handing multiple bills. I just remember giving them. And then when she came to me, she said, here, because you found it, you get more. She gave me the money. She said, all right, we found something. Now keep looking. So I went back into the room. I searched the room. I couldn't find shit. They searched it. They didn't find nothing no more. That's all we found. As far as like money wise, they had shit, but we ain't taking shit.
So you guys looked in the cajones too? Mm-hmm. And everything that was in the cajon, did you guys?
Yeah, they scooped it out and everything.
And just do it?
Yeah, just threw it everywhere on the floor.
Did you guys break anything?
I'm sure we did, but
From just
throwing shit everywhere.
Oh.
So I'm sure
you didn't like kick something?
No.
At the TV or something?
No.
Just go to the TV and kick
like just mainly like if the table right here, just throwing everything off the table.
But it seems weird, huh? It seems weird when you're going in for valuables to just be throwing shit.
I just think because it's fun, right? The destruction.
I think the girl had like an issue with the person there. She just wanted to fuck shit up and then also steal valuables
because she had the key.
Yeah.
So I don't know who that was. And now that I think about it, right? Well, let me finish. Well, we got she gave me the money, whatever. We searched the whole place, and then there was nothing else. So then we just left. And I remember coming home with $100 and being hella excited because I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, for at the time, I remember thinking $5-10 was a
lot of money. So when I had 100, I didn't even know what to buy. I was like, I'm gonna get a new skateboard. I'm gonna do something. I'm this whatever. I'm just thinking in my head of shit that I'm gonna buy. And then after that happened, what was I saying about the girl?
That she had a key. So she knew the people.
Oh no! Afterwards, I mean, now that I look back on it, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's fucked up because I don't know who lived there, and if they
deserved it,
when they came back and they seen all that mess, all that destruction, and I just took all their money, which was probably their savings, and like, boom, just gone, and it's just another victim of like, fuck, right, Stockton.
You think it would have been you think it would have been a lot more like if you knew he deserved it? If it was a dude, if this was a dude, it wasn't a family, right? Let's just say it was a dude, and the lady was all like effed up in her face, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this." If she explained to you like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend, and he fucked me up, and I'm leaving him, but I'm gonna make sure that I take some money."
Will I feel better about it?
Would you feel better about it when you were doing it during?
Well, wrong is wrong, but. I mean, maybe. Yeah.
I would have checked the fridge though. Probably. I would have checked the fridge
for what?
For snacks. See what you got.
For snacks. Are you gonna eat shit out of a random person's house? Or?
I was just sealed. I would have looked at the fridge and see if he got like good sodas and stuff.
Nah, I didn't even go to the other side of the house. Who knows what was over there? Who knows if they found something?
Oh, it's because you guys separated, huh?
People I just searched that room and that was it. And then that was all. And then we left. Yeah, so that's all I did. But yeah, I had 100 on me. I remember. And then I remember my mom telling me where I got the money from. And I told her that I cleaned up somebody's house, my friend's house, something like that. And she believed me. But $100? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's almost like, what? You know?
No, it's just because you're a kid and you never lied to them before. So it's like.
So maybe they're like, he's so innocent. But I'm like, that's a lot of money. And for me to have. But yeah, that was the first time that I ever went into somebody's shit. And now looking back at it, I could feel bad for whoever was there, whatever family or person or lived there, because we just took all their shit.
Yeah, it sucks.
But it's an inside thing from that girl, though.
Yeah, but I feel like I feel like there is a little, you're at fault a little bit because you were in there. You're the nigga that found the money, and also you helped destroy shit.
Well, I mean, I think
so there's a little fault there, but it's like it was all initiated by a girl that was gonna do it regardless if you were there or not.
Well, I don't know, because when you look at blame, right, you can say, okay, these are kids, and this girl's kind of taking advantage of them. Right, because she's the one who knows better. She's the one that should be like, no. And she's still saying, nah, fuck it, go in there.
Yeah.
So, but I think like when it comes to blame, I don't look at it like that. I'm like, wrong is wrong. You know, I shouldn't have done that. But I think I learned a lot from the shit I did.
But you probably got some tight shit with the $100.
I don't remember what I got with the $100.
It was probably games. But I do remember being into skateboards, but it seems like $100 is a lot of money. Back then too, but I remember shit cost like what did a board run us?
100.
It'd be 100.
Yeah, 100 or more.
Complete though.
Yeah, but that's today too.
Yeah,
well, I think you can probably 100, 120, 100.
It seems like shit's hella expensive.
I think it's more expensive now, but I do remember it was like $100 because I remember our neighbor. I don't remember his name, but
which neighbor?
The neighbor right next to us on our left.
Sohail?
Yeah, Sohail. Him, I remember him getting a Tony Hawk board, Birdhouse, I think it was called.
I don't remember.
The board. and it was brand new, and he got it complete, and he felt like top shit because he got it. I never had a clean board like that. My board came from our cousin. And his board was a beat up pre-owned board, and he gave it to me probably because he had another board.
And like the one thing that you would update sometimes would be the bearings, huh?
The bearings, because you couldn't spin.
Yeah, and it'd be.
And then they would tell me
hella clean when you.
They would tell you put oil on them, huh?
Yeah.
Put oil on them so we can go. But because my board was never clean back then, it was beat up already, and I was still skating. I learned a lot of tricks like that, and I think now skateboarding is tight. It's kind of tight, but I think now more people are skateboarding.
Than there was back then.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see it more. And every time I see it, it's like tight. I like to see it. I like seeing people hit tray flips all the time. And it's becoming. I've seen people that I'm like even on YouTube, people on YouTube who are just normal YouTubers, where they're vlogging or something, and they come across some guys on the board and they're like, let me see. And they hit a tray flip or they hit a kick flip. I'm like, what the hell? I would have never thought you know how to kickflip it. So, or anything. So it's surprising how many people know the basics, right? Well, that's not the basics. You can tray flip, that shit. You're not a fuck. What is it called?
Poser?
Yeah, poser. You're not a poser anymore. Once you hit that tray flip, you're intermediate, huh? You're like,
you're, I think, intermediate and slightly advanced.
Yeah, because
you can be intermediate skateboarder, and I think what makes you intermediate is if you can do tricks while you're riding. If you can do tricks while you're riding and it's clean, it looks clean. You don't got to be perfectly still. I think when it's still, you're still beginner. But if you can do shit while riding,
all of it though, we practice a lot of bad habits on the board.
Yeah, but it's because we were just learning.
Because you're supposed to ride.
Yeah, and you get comfortable riding, and then they tell you like which foot's dominant.
A lot of people tell you to learn tricks while riding.
I know, so you get comfortable with it.
Yeah, so even a little push, kick flip, tray flip, whatever. Yeah. Not staying still all the time.
It seemed like that's how, for me, I always was still. And I got comfortable with riding. The way I rode was different, opposite of how I did tricks. And it's just because I just built that habit. And then now once I had it, I tried doing it the other way and it was off. And because it was like, it's more work to try to learn again. That's a little weird though.
I don't remember. My thing is not as sharp, like goofy, and remember that.
Yeah, that was me. That's how I did it. It seemed like, and it was a lot harder to learn certain things. And I wasn't taught the proper way for foot placement. And then
the way we would push was crazy. Like, yeah, you're supposed to push with your front foot on the front of the board where the nails are at. The screws are at. And then push with your other leg. But we would just put our leg on the back of the board and then just kick like that.
Yeah.
But that's not how you're supposed to kick.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it worked. And we would skate like that for all the time. And I learned a bunch of tricks that way. But skating was like everyday thing too. Getting the board and getting out there. And just practicing.
Yeah, it's crazy how much you sweat, huh?
Yeah.
You get hella sweaty. When you start skating?
I think now it's even worse because you're getting older now.
Yeah.
So, and I think when you're getting older, you have to get bigger boards. You have to get bigger boards
you got a bigger feet. Foot.
Yeah. But the one thing is when you get a bigger board, it's harder to flip it. And I just got so used to being able to flip it that when I went bigger, it's just like, man, it just sucked. And it always pushed me back when I look back, like I was riding a skinny ass board, a 7.25, I think it was. That's hella skinny compared to what people normally skate, which is the 7.75. And then now I jumped to an 8. Now I'm riding an 8, which is becoming like, is I think the most common now, I think. It used to be 7.75, if I remember correctly.
It's probably just because people's feet are bigger, it's more comfortable to land.
Well, yeah, because they say you have to have room to land, or else you can't land tricks like that. That's why you need a board big for your foot.
But it like it's when you say 7.75 or whatever, and then 8, it doesn't seem like a lot. But when you look at it,
but when you flip the bitch, that's when you.
But you can tell. You look at two boards different.
Yeah, it's bigger.
You can tell. But I never. When I. Skating was cool, but I hit this limit, and then I never chose to like grind through it. and then now it's like now my shins hurt when I jump and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to do that shit. And then also I don't want to break nothing. I don't break nothing.
You mean like break a bone or something?
Yeah, doing tricks. So I was like, I never got. I seemed like whatever I had, I already lost. But I feel like I can still kickflip. Like, give me like 20 tries.
You think so though? You just think you're just like you're not sharp no more. But I think you don't think if you start skating again, you will pick up back where you're at.
Yeah, I think if I put enough work into it, I put enough time into it. But it's like, and I never got over the fear. You know how you have that fear of falling? Like I was fine, and then something had to have happened, and I fell. And then whenever I was, you know how when there were stacked boards, and you try to ollie over it,
Yeah.
and you get that fear, and you back off last minute.
I don't know about
Like I never got rid of that.
Well, like I remember the scariness of just like commitment.
Yeah, the commit. Yeah, when you did it off stairs or when you did it over a
Yeah,
board.
stairs was like probably the hardest for me, and still like stairs. I'm like, damn, because but it never stopped me from trying it. But I feel like I haven't tried it enough. But when I did try to, I tried to kickflip like a 3-stair over there by the church, and I fell and I twisted my ankle, and then swole my whole foot up hella bad, hurt hella bad. And then I didn't have my phone, I didn't have nothing, so I had to push back all the way home, which was probably like what, 8 blocks. With my fat ass foot.
And which you could stand on it?
I could stand on it, but it just hurt. It just hurt. Like I rolled it bad.
So
it wasn't broken or nothing.
So you were just you just stood, you just kicked with the other foot and just stood with the one.
Yeah, I stood on the bad foot because I couldn't really kick with it.
Yeah.
So I just stood on it, and it took me a while to get back home because I was like going pretty slow because that shit hurt. And I remember the next day I had to go to work, and then my foot wouldn't fit in my boot. It was so swollen, hella bad.
You still went
hurt so bad. I still went to work.
And what work is this?
This is Baycast, grinding metal.
Oh yeah, with my dad.
Yeah. I don't know why the hell I didn't just stay home. Now I would have been like, fuck that, I'm not going. But
yeah, when it comes to like jobs, I used to care like a lot. I used to care about like they got to know I'm a hard worker. I can't let them down.
It's almost like you have to prove yourself, right? You have to, and especially coming from the field work that we did, because you couldn't be no bitch in the fields. It's almost like if you were, you're less of a man.
Yeah, and it's not only it was not only like your people were gonna like you lose respect type shit, right? Not only for you but your family, like your dad. Like you put shame on your name, your last name, right? Where you come from. And it's like my dad. I always felt like everywhere we went, it'd be like, oh, these are Melcho's kids.
Yeah. So
and I'm like, and there's a certain thing like I gotta make sure that they know like, oh yeah, Melcho's my dad, right? And I gotta make him proud. So whenever I talk to anybody, I would make them. I would try to do the best that I could to keep myself in like to represent my dad
well, right?
And yeah, so
and I feel like that's abandoned now, huh? Because you didn't even say it, but you're talking about manners, huh? Manners and just the
etiquette,
way,
huh?
Yeah,
to make sure.
Right?
Like,
was that right or no?
Yeah. Oh. Like I like to when I would make sure like I wouldn't shame my dad to be like, oh yeah, he's raising good kids, because it seemed like everything came back to like trying to make my dad proud of what I became.
Why only my dad though?
It seems because I think it always came back to my dad just because it's like the man.
I just think maybe because we were boys, huh?
Well, I don't know. I guess for me personally, it seemed like
I just feel like my dad's opinion of me, especially early on, was
held hella weight, huh?
Yeah, hella.
Maybe it's probably because it seemed like my mom. I couldn't disappoint my mom. Like my
mom was so loving.
Yeah, my mom loved me no matter what.
That's probably any mom. Any mom's like that.
Yeah. So I've always felt like my mom's gonna love me no matter what, even if I let her down. Like I could be a bitch, and then my mom would be like, "Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it." And then my dad would be like, "Nah,
you had to perform."
Yeah, he's like, "No, not my son. You're gonna work." You can't break. And if you're and it's
it was almost it's almost like because the shit wasn't normal. We were working 12 hours a day. It wasn't normal. But yet when you showed weakness, it was like and my dad was it's not like to say my dad was a fucked up person, but it's just my dad, like, he built us a certain way. And that's why, like, sure, when I think back to looking at it, like, damn, it sucked. Being that kid in the fields, working in the sun.
Every summer.
And it sucked. And some will even say it was cruel, right? But fuck no. I wouldn't take it all back. Like, I would do it all over again because it taught me so much. It made me into who I am. It made me be like, I could take on anything. The whole purpose, my dad would say, is you got to learn how a dollar is made. You got to earn your dollar. That's what he wanted us to learn. But I think we learned way more than that. Way more.
Because it builds you to not, to no matter how hard shit is.
Don't give up.
Don't give up, and you're capable.
And you're capable.
No matter how much you're like, I don't want to go. Or, it's too hot. Or
waking up, bones hurting.
My bones hurt from my hands.
My hands hurting from holding
every
the
time
asadón.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And you would sometimes, like, it take me forever sometimes with the big boy ones. You know how when you, like, you ever, from your bones were hurt from hitting the rock because you would try to knock that motherfucker in one go.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, like, sometimes I'm like, I gotta let this one, like, the gravity do it. And I would just do that. And sharpen your thing to make sure it's sharp as fuck. So
but that fucking shit would get dull so quick.
Yeah, because there were so many.
It would last you maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Especially with the rocky ones. Yeah. But I do remember always thinking my dad's opinion of me mattered hella bad.
Yeah, and trying to prove yourself like a motherfucker. Because early on, right? Remember my dad's uncle? When he gave us our asadons. That's a hoe for people listening, right? The gardening hoe. He gave us the asadons. He let us pick, remember? He's like...
Oh, yeah. He had him up against the wall.
He pulled up the... Yeah, I think that too. Oh, yeah, he did that too. And, yep, he did do that. And then we all picked our asadons, right? And they told us, get a small one. Get a small one because...
Yeah, because you're going to carry it all day.
Yeah, you're going to carry it.
And this is 11. You're 11, I'm 13.
I wasn't even 11 yet.
Yeah, you weren't 11. You were 10. You were going on 11 because I was going on 14.
So...
No, you had to be 11.
I'm not sure. Fuck it, say 11, right? Okay. So we got the asadons, right? And the one, I remember the first one that I got was small. And I remember feeling like a bitch. Like I need to get a big one.
All the girls had all the small ones.
Yeah, I remember feeling like a bitch, and I remember I need a big one. And I don't know what it was. It was just like you said, trying to make my dad proud and trying to be tough. And I was like, no, I want a bigger one. And I told everybody, I want a bigger one. And then he said he wants a bigger one. So when Herat, I just named him, but whatever. When he opened up the van, I guess to show, I don't know, I think he was giving more than just me people asadons. So I threw my small one in there and I got the big one, the big boy one. And it was heavy.
You've had that same one?
That same one from the jump, from that thing, other than that little pause in the beginning where I traded, but I don't know how long that was, maybe like a week or two before I got that big one. And it was big as hell. And I still have it. And you look at it now and it's a fucking baby. Because
it's been through hell shit.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like this much. It has wounds on it. It has like the.
You carved your name into it or the initial or no?
Oh yeah, we carved the M on it. Remember how we would do that back in? But I never put my initials on it. But my thing, I would always, because I learned to sharpen it. First, I used the is it called the lima? Remember?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's a
filing tool. What is it?
The filer thing.
Well, I would use that, and then when my dad trusted me with the grinder, I started grinding all our asadones, and I would make them black. I would make them black. Yeah, it'd be like damn.
It'd be like 5 a.m. when we'd wake up.
Yeah,
it'd be like because we had to be there. We'd have to be there at 7 or
7.
So we had to wake up at 5 something.
Sometimes it'd be 6, but most times
to
7.
get the cooler ready, get our food ready, get dressed, and then we still had to drive an hour. And then we would get there. So we would wake up at like 5, or if not 5, I think it was 5 or 5 something. And we would leave the house by 6 to be there by 7. But I remember all the time, it was like your thing.
Yeah.
Meme was always the one sharpening all las asadones. So it'd be like 5 something in the morning, and I'd be filling the cooler or whatever, and then out here, and like, at 5 in the morning out here,
sparks and shit flying
everywhere. Yeah.
And mines, I would always I would put like teeth on mines, like well, not really teeth, but
you would cut into it.
I would cut into my asadon, and it was my signature thing that I did, and I just thought it was like hella cool. Like if this is the blade, well, this isn't big enough, but if this is the blade, right? I'll put it like this. Right here, I would put the grinder straight, so the thing
Cut
is
straight
in, and I would go in just a little bit, not enough to like break it or nothing, just a little bit to mark it, and then I put another one right there. So there would be 2 lines, and if I go up there and get it, it's still there because the last time I sharpened it, I left that mark there. So it was just the 2 lines there. I would always do that every time I was sharpening my asadon. But I was the one who was always sharpening them. Sometimes my dad would do it, sometimes somebody else would do it. But
yeah, no, I don't remember ever doing it. I do remember my dad doing it, and I remember you doing it. But
I had that asadon forever, for the whole time period I was there. I never switched. Everybody switched. Everybody had different ones, not me. I kept the same one. And people would laugh because I would say, I'm gonna frame this motherfucker, right? And I'm still gonna frame that motherfucker. Like, fuck y'all. I'm gonna do what you mean? Me and that motherfucker been through hell together. That shit.
It's because it was yours look similar to Robert's. They look similar. They look similar, but like the ones that stood out
was my dad's.
My dad
had a beast.
Because he had a beast one.
And it's still a beast because remember my dad always had a different job. So like he only worked a little bit with that salon, and then he would go do his other job. So a lot of times his thing wasn't. Sometimes I used his, but like he always had it. My dad was the heaviest one.
Yeah, you would feel it. Like I remember at work, I took my dad's one time all day, and you would feel it. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm not taking that one. Next day, I'm gonna take mine. I would use mine in like, that's what I'm saying. Like the early years, I remember having my salon. It was hard because it was heavy. Yours had a little hook to it, didn't it? It seemed like yours had a hook to it, like the asadon, the
like a curve
piece. Yeah, like it was curved.
I mean, the tip of it was because of the sharpening, but it wasn't.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Because I remember, I don't know. I just remember thinking it had a little curve thing.
Yeah, but what was I saying? You don't know what I was saying? Well, it's something about that salon. Right?
We were talking about my dad's with the beast.
Yeah, my dad's was heavy. Oh, I was saying like I put unnecessary. I worked harder than I needed to because I got the asadon that was heavier, just to make me feel better about like, yeah, I'm a tough.
Like you're not taking the easy way out.
Yeah, almost making it harder on myself.
Yeah,
and like it's not even like people even cared to notice that. They just seen me using it. They didn't expect nothing of it. I was the one who was feeling the weight, and I would wake up tired, wake up with my hands hurting, my bones hurting. Like, you know, remember that you wake up and
achy.
Yeah, your bones would ache.
Yeah, all your fingers.
And then the first couple of years, we didn't even have a bed. We slept on the floor. And remember, we slept on the floor, and we slept in a house with like at least 15 people, 10 people more in the same house. And get up, work, go home, chill for a little bit, go to sleep, repeat. And that was for the first year.
Yeah, because it was a 7 to 7 shit, right?
Yeah,
7 to 7, and because majority time, every time it was Carroll or further. We worked in Carroll or was further, so it was an hour. You drive there for an hour, you drive back for an hour. So we would get home at 8 o'clock.
This is after the first year, because when we lived there, we lived there.
Oh yeah, when we lived there, but we only lived there
1 year.
Was it the whole year though? Because when my mom,
it was a whole year. Because after it was over, that's when they started searching the house, and that's when they got that house at 427.
Oh,
so we spent
because I remember
not a year. When we say years, we mean summers.
Yeah,
but we just say years.
Yeah, it's like 2 months.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So after that 2-3 month period, that's when we got a house, and then we would start driving. That drive would begin.
Yeah, so this was when we originally moved to Michigan. The first place we lived at was a place where everybody was working in the fields.
Yeah,
it's where we landed, and we lived there for the summer, and then my dad bought a house. And
with the money he made from the fields.
Yeah, and then started looking for a job. And I think the first job he found was the papa place. And then
you would get free chips.
Oh yeah,
every once in a while.
They were trash chips, though.
They were, but hey, free is free. But they would give us a fuck ton. Remember?
Yeah,
they give us a
box, yeah,
and the big bags too.
Well, some of them were if you put chili,
the barbecue ones. I mean,
yeah, do you put chili on them? They were not bad.
But. Yeah, they were all right though, but for free. But that's when we got the house, and he started working at the papa place, and then from then on, every summer we worked in the fields. I don't know how long you went, but I did 11 years.
I went till I was 18.
And I was like damn near what, 22?
Yeah, because I was working at the Ford dealer. I was working at the Ford dealer, and on my days off, I would go work in the fields.
And it got to the point where my dad was saying, "Why are you even going anymore?
It's not worth it."
But it was such a fucking, I proved myself. I was still in that stage of I have to prove myself. I have to show that I'm tough, that I can work like this. Now I don't give a fuck. I already earned my stripes. And even if people don't want to give it to me, I'm cool with that. I don't care. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. But back then, I think you just seek validation as a kid. So I just wanted people to know that I can hang too. Even in Stockton, it was the same way. So when it got to the fields, it was the same thing. So when it would get super hot, they would send people home. Right? And it was normally the girls. Not me. I would stay. Even though I wanted to go home just as bad as anybody else, I stayed. When it was raining, I stayed. They would tell me, "You want to go home?" "No." "I'll work if you work." "Are you going to still work?" "Yeah." "All right then." Even though in my head, I'm like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. But that's how it was. And that's how it had to be. But when it came to the worst time, it was when I was working at Northern Concrete in the snow, and it was cold as shit.
You think that's your suckiest job ever in your whole time ever?
Yeah, that's worse than everything. And the reason why is because of the cold. That's the only. If you were warm, that's not that bad.
So
I mean, it still sucks. It still works.
So the job description is what?
You make concrete boxes or concrete pipes or concrete everything. So like those are the ones that are used for bridges. They're used for tunnels.
Like sewer shit?
Sewers, a bunch of shit. Now, where I worked, I was in a group for box. So we would make concrete boxes. So I didn't make pipes. I didn't make anything else but boxes. That's what I was. But we worked outside. Even in the wintertime, we would only not go to work if the school's closed for a winter day, a snow day. Then we wouldn't go either. So we would look at the fucking, like almost like we were still in school, just to hoping like, fuck, I don't want to work in the cold.
Hopefully they close.
But that was, it was in the negatives. We're talking like -10, -12, -13 maybe. I don't remember, but it was -10 something over. And I was outside and I was working. And this was my first year. So I didn't know. I never been through nothing like that. I've been through heat. I never been through cold. And other people had face masks to cover their face.
So they wouldn't get burned
get burned by the wind, and they wouldn't get that wind chill, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that. And they would have like double gloves, double socks and everything. And like, I had normal socks and stuff like that, but I didn't really double up on anything. And I remember being so cold, my hands would hurt. Like it would get itchy. Hella bad. It would hurt. And then I remember being on the box and, like going to the bathroom as an excuse to get out the cold and knowing I had to come back. But I only was a minute or two. Just go to.
And there was no source of heat anywhere.
No, the way they would do it they would have barrels, and they would put wood in there and stuff like that. And they would light it up. But when we were working over there was no fucking heat. There was nothing.
So what was the closest barrel? Was it like
there was barrels, but I don't know if there was barrels. I think that shit just died. Oh, it says Tempai. Remember? I thought you said nonstop.
That's because you have it plugged in.
So